Hello and welcome to Series 1, Module 7. In this module, we're going to discuss credit, friend or foe. And if you actually have been journeying with me through the previous module, you probably noticed that I've kind of given it away a little bit. To me, credit, I'm just going to be coming out and straight with you guys. Credit is a friend, if not the best friend as an investor. And let's dive right in because we like to say that credit is the greatest income and wealth generating tool that's available to even the most average person living in Canada these days. And so, from a definition standpoint, definitions matter on your journey to pursue financial independence or financial freedom. Credit is the ability to borrow money or access goods and services now with the promise to pay later. And this was covered in the previous module. So if you skip that one, I do encourage you to go back and revisit that one before you continue on. And so with that said, though, it's just that most people are not taught or trained properly on how to use credit because the most common credit used by the poor and the middle class, or at least once again, these results are driven by the poor mindset and the middle class mindset are these things. First, mortgage, getting a big house, doing a fancy rental. It's all about keeping up with the Joneses, looking good, or again, not willing to delay instant gratification. They see something in the showroom, they see something at Home Depot or on HGTV, and they want it. They want it now. So they're willing to refinance their mortgage, take on more debt, just so that they have more expenses that they gotta debt service on a monthly basis. And then you get into car loans. Instead of driving what you should be driving, you drive what you want to be driving just because you got approved for a loan. And I'm not saying it's you per se. However, again, most of us, I know that's how we do it. And I will tell you that that was me. That was literally me back in 2011. We had two German cars in our garage, and my net worth was in the negatives. On the outside, everything looked great. I had what I called a buy, rent, and parade rental in the Vancouver market. And then I had a new house, a big house in the Edmonton market in one of the best neighborhoods here. And we have two German vehicles, one Mercedes, one BMW. And on the outside, everything looked great. But I was drowning in debt and I was exhausted from clocking in 60 to 80 hours of work every single week just to debt service that and never felt like I was going to get ahead or be above water. So I'm not criticizing if it kind of hit a nerve there. I just want to let you know that I used to be like that and there's no shame in that. And the whole idea is that if you can wake up and see how you may be leveraging debt not in the most effective way to contribute to your financial health and maybe even your mental health at this point, this is your sign to make a change. And so again, credit cards, one of those, retail loans even, and maybe even personal line or lines of credits, or what we call LOC. And knowing this now, it's all about having that awareness of what the commonly misused credit sources available to even the most average person in this country. And let's flip that script. Let's flip that script now. And so, from a TYT perspective, or AKA how the rich operates, again, break that cycle if that's what you want to do, is to start telling yourself that credit is my best friend. Anytime I can get access to credit, I'm going to get it because it is the best money making tool available right now in the modern money world. Remember, modern money, because our modern money, especially the Canadian dollars, is on a fiat system. And so, when it comes to credit, and this is really the learning, if you want to take away one nugget, I know I've done a lot of encouragements on remember this, remember that. However, if there's only one thing you're going to take away right now, it's this line right here. When it comes to credit, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. What does that mean? Every time you apply for a loan for a new credit card, any debt or any credit for that matter, it always feels like there's endless amount of paperwork or questions that they're asking to really vet everything, including your blood type and your children's health conditions. And so, with that said, the idea here is that when the times are good, that's when you want to continue to acquire credit, opening up different credits, increasing your borrowing powers, not decreasing it. I was one of those people taught by my parents. You only have one credit card. You don't want to get more. I know I was a little defiant. I was rebellious. So I got three credit cards at one point because I wanted one Visa, one Master, and one American Express. And that's it. However, still just one card each. These days, I mean, I can show you my stack of credit cards. And the whole idea is, if you remember from the previous modules, I call some credit cards are investor cards. We'll dive into that in future series as well, if that's one of the questions that you have for me. However, the whole point behind all of this is that when the times are good, and what I mean by that is that you are not in a severe debt situation. You're in a position where you do have a flow of income because ultimately what lenders are looking for is your debt servicing ability. And so for most people initially, that's proving that you have a stable, steady, reliable income source. And so when the times are good, when it comes to credit, it's better to have it, meaning you apply, you gain access to it, you increase it when you can, okay, than to need it and not have it. Because when do you need credit is most of the times when you're desperate and you need to borrow some kind of money. And so when that happens, for most people, that's because they've lost their jobs. Some things happen. There's a big expenses coming. There's not enough in the bank, not enough in their investment portfolio to cover everything. And usually when times like that happen, the lenders are also a little bit more shy because they know that you're in trouble. So what makes them think that you're going to be a reliable candidate to extend more credit to? And so that's the whole point is when it comes to credit, once again, it's better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So hopefully that sheds a little bit of light because I was one of those dum-dums before I was financially educated that I listened to some other people that were not financially educated nor well off. However, I know they meant really well. They said that, hey, you know what? And if you don't need to use your credit limit all the time, actually lower your credit limit. Don't do that, okay? I'm gonna say, please don't do that. Knowing this now, every 6 months, especially when it comes to a credit product, you want to make sure that you contact your lenders, your banks, whoever it may be, to see if you can actually stretch it and increase it. Okay. And at one point, we're also going to be showing you and educating you on your credit score and what it means, because that directly will have a very positive impact on your credit report and your credit score as a result when you understand how to use your credit facility really well. And so next, only borrow to acquire assets, okay? Or when there is a calculated upside. As I mentioned from all previous modules, that is the investor mindset, return on investment. It's never about focusing on how much it's going to cost me, it's how much it's going to make me. So there's going to be an upside for it. And yes, when you're financially educated, absolutely put all your day-to-day expenses and even your luxury lifestyle expenses on credit cards. However, the idea is you're not going to carry bad debt. And so in this particular case, debt equals credit, and only borrow debt, only borrow credit, or get access to credit to acquire assets. Once again, that'll go into the income generating side so that you can pay and debt service your liabilities by paying the expenses associated with that every single month. So with that said, that's the end of the module. As usual, I would like you to share in the group what is your one key takeaway from this particular module, and what is the one action that you're going to be taking right now, knowing what you know. I'm going to just suggest, again, just a quick suggestion, apply for a new credit account. It could be in the form of a credit card, could be in the form of some sort of loan. and just do something about it if you have the ability to do so. And if for nothing else, treat it as a learning process. If you haven't applied for any sort of loans in a while, it's always good to go through that process so that you understand what the lenders are looking for, the criteria behind it, and better yet, ask them, why do you need this? And let them explain it to you, okay? Last bonus question here is, have you ever misused credit? I already shared with you, I did. I definitely was one of those. And how will you ensure that you adapt to the TYT perspectives on credit now moving forward? Thank you for joining me on this module. I will see you at the next one.